Hi, my name is Benjamin Gerald. This presentation will cover significant 2024 updates to FDM 211. The major changes to this chapter affect these sections. FDM 211.18 is the only new section in this chapter. In the ramp section, we added a sentence for travelway criteria for ramps with 3 or more lanes. 3-lane ramps are being constructed for more and more limited access facilities, and travelway criteria was needed for these ramps. Additional ramp criteria was included in FDM 211.4 for minimum shoulder widths, which we'll cover in a few slides. In the managed lane separation section, we added buffer separation with pavement markings to the list of treatment types, along with a new figure and a reference to the FDOT Managed Lanes Guidebook for factors to consider in determining separation type. These updates came from the Systems Implementation Office to be consistent with the new FDOT Managed Lanes Guidebook. Two major updates were made in the shoulder width section. The minimum shoulder width table was modified to accommodate a new row for ramps with 3 lanes or more. As I said earlier, 3-lane ramps are being constructed more and more on limited access facilities, and a shoulder width criteria was needed for these ramps. The second major change in this section was in FDM 211.4.2.1. The shoulder rocking language for concrete barriers was revised to clarify the requirements for single slope and F-shaped barriers. Note the F-shaped barrier was the concrete barrier included in the 2017 through 2018 design standards and earlier versions. Since the 2018-2019 standard plans, only the single slope barriers has been included in the standard plans. So when shoulder rocking is being provided for new single slope concrete barriers, see the standard plans index 521-001 instructions for more information on the design assumptions and limitations of this treatment. The SPI for this index has been revised to include additional information for shoulder rocking. For shoulder rocking adjacent to the old existing F-shaped barrier, this language has been revised to clarify the criteria here in the FDM. FDM 211.14.1 was revised to be more consistent with the Managed Lanes Guidebook. Continuous access was added to the types of access used on Florida's managed lanes, along with some limitations and guidance on its use. And a reference to the Managed Lanes Guidebook has been added for more information on direct connect ramps. These updates to the limited access right-of-way section came from the Systems Implementation Office to be more consistent with the Florida Administrative Code Rule 1497. As a result, the requirements for LA right-of-way to be 1,320 feet along the crossroad from the end of the taper of the ramp furthest from the interchange was added to this section. The minimum distances of 300 feet for rural areas and 100 feet for urban areas, as established in the AASHTO Green Book, can still be applied under constrained conditions. Any reduction below these constrained condition values will need to be approved by FHWA for interstate projects and by the district design engineer for non-interstate facilities. Interchanges have traditionally been designed to facilitate the movement of vehicles. As a result, one of the most challenging situations facing bicyclists and pedestrians in C3 through C6 context classifications is traveling through interchange areas. This new section contains criteria for bicycle and pedestrian movements through interchange areas using shared use paths. These movements have normally been provided using a combination of bicycle lanes, keyholes, and sidewalks. However, emerging research has led the department to modify this approach in favor of a simpler, separated system relying on shared use paths. The criteria in FDM 211.18 is intended to facilitate the design of shared use paths through the interchange areas. However, these requirements apply to the design of new interchanges. They may be applied to existing conditions where practical, but are not required on 3R projects. On existing interchanges where a shared use path cannot be provided, a design variation is not required. Thank you for listening to this webinar, and please let us know if you have any questions.